second day, the friends gathered around the campfire once more. The events at the cabin weighed heavily on their minds, and the atmosphere was tense. Jack, trying to lighten the mood, suggested they make a plan to leave the forest the next morning. Everyone agreed, eager to put the unsettling experience behind them. That night, as they tried to sleep, strange sounds filled the air. Whispers, footsteps, and distant cries echoed through the forest. Emma, unable to shake her fear, stayed awake, clutching a flashlight. She kept replaying the events in her mind, wondering what they had unleashed. In the early hours of the morning, a blood-curdling scream jolted everyone awake. They rushed out of their tents to find Sarah standing in the clearing, her face pale and eyes wide with terror. She pointed towards the trees, unable to speak. Following her gaze, they saw a figure standing at the edge of the clearing. It was the same figure from the cabin, its hollow eyes glowing in the darkness. The friends backed away slowly, their hearts pounding in their chests. The figure didn't move, but its presence was enough to send shivers down their spines. Suddenly, the figure vanished, leaving behind a sense of dread. Sarah, still shaken, managed to tell them what she had seen. She had woken up to find the figure standing beside her tent, whispering her name. When she screamed, it had disappeared into the trees. Realizing they were no longer safe, the group decided to leave immediately. They packed their bags in a hurry and set off towards the road. As they walked, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The forest seemed to close in around them, and the shadows grew darker. Just as they thought they were nearing the road, they stumbled upon a small graveyard hidden among the trees. The headstones were old and weathered, their inscriptions barely visible. A chill ran down their spines as they realized the graves belonged to people who had disappeared in the forest over the years. Among the headstones, they found a fresh grave with an inscription that sent a wave of horror through them. It was Liam's name, along with the date of their arrival in the forest. Trembling with fear, they knew they had to get out before it was too late. As dawn broke, the friends quickened their pace, desperate to leave the forest. The once vibrant woods now seemed sinister, each rustle of leaves a potential threat. Every few moments, they glanced over their shoulders, half expecting the hollow-eyed figure to reappear. Hours passed, and they still hadn't reached the road. It was as if the forest had a mind of its own, twisting and turning to keep them trapped. Fatigue and fear began to take their toll. Jack, usually the most resilient, stumbled and fell, his ankle twisted and swollen. They helped him up, but progress became painfully slow. As the sun began to set, the forest grew darker, and the sense of being watched intensified. The group decided to set up a temporary camp to rest and regroup. They built a small fire, hoping the light would keep the shadows at bay, but the sense of dread remained. That night, as they huddled around the fire, the whispers returned. Soft, indistinct murmurs that seemed to come from all directions. Emma, still on edge, decided to keep watch. Her flashlight beams scanned the trees, catching glimpses of movement that vanished as quickly as they appeared. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was the hollow-eyed specter, but this time, it wasn't alone. Other shadowy figures moved in the background, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. The friends froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. The specter reached out a hand, its fingers long and skeletal. Liam, feeling a strange compulsion, stepped forward. Emma grabbed his arm, pulling him